Whatever you decide to do in your personal life or your relationships, imagine that you're on reality TV and your son, daughter, niece, nephew is watching you. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm going to talk about advice for relationships and how to behave. And I want to talk about a guiding principle that has helped me a lot in my personal relationships behind the scenes to preserve my integrity. And that is whatever lessons I learn, whatever I decide to do, imagine that my young niece is watching me, like she's watching a reality TV show like Love is Blind or Singles Inferno, and behave in a way with integrity that she would be proud of me if she were to watch me on TV and see how I navigated my relationships with other people. Because think about all the nasty things that other people have done in their relationships, and as a sensitive person, you might have experienced it. You might have showed up as your best self and somebody else decided to just behave badly. And sometimes people behave terribly because you are so good as a sensitive person that they don't really know what to do. They're looking for something bad to pick you apart and they can't find anything. And so when they can't pick you apart, they ditch, they disappear because they have no other idea of what to do or what to say to you because they can't find an excuse to exit when they want to exit. They just do what they want to do. And that's what a lot of people do, is they don't care about integrity. They just decide to ditch when they're ready to ditch. And as a sensitive person, you have to be prepared for that. But that does not mean that gives you an invitation to ditch or to do the same thing to other people just because somebody else did it to you in the past. Because likely when you make that choice to do it, it's going to be at the wrong time and it's going to be with a person who is actually a good person. And I've even struggled with this a bit myself as a sensitive person, because there are certain instant messaging exchanges, certain texts where, I wish I had followed up a bit more promptly. That is one little regret that I've had, is sometimes I'm not as responsive as I wish I could have been with people. And maybe I could have given them more of a chance to get to know me. But I get very exhausted when I'm doing text and instant messages exchanging with people. And a lot of people like to communicate that way, especially at the beginning of a relationship or the beginning of getting to know people. And there are times I'm just so exhausted by it, and I'm over it. I'm thinking it takes a long time for me to grow feelings for someone, months, if not years. And these text exchanges just leave me feeling drained. I'm exhausted. I'd rather go make a video for YouTube, or I'd rather go and do a yoga class or try to help somebody in the homeless community. It's just text I associate with doing my work, and I don't hate it. Like, I'll do it, but a lot of texting is just really draining for me. But sometimes the people who are texting me first, they are really well-intentioned and there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, and then they get very annoyed with me for not responding. They think that I'm a jerk or I'm stuck up. That is one area that I wish I could improve, but at the same time, I'm also aware that I need to protect my own energy and my own attitude, that if I'm replying too much and I'm burned out, then I might reply back with a negative attitude. And occasionally I have said a comeback or a mean thing to people, like when they're expecting me to be available at the last minute and they keep asking and asking and asking. I'll say, I'm not an instant pizza delivery service, please leave me alone. Like, sometimes I do say things like that. I'm a little bit sassy once in a while, but for the most part, I try to be kind to people and keep a high standard of how I treat people, even if they're behaving like morons, frankly. But my point is, you want to keep the standard high because you never know what is going to be revealed about you, what text exchange, what drama is going to come out, especially if you ever become famous. And I'm sure people may try to reveal that I'm an idiot or whatever in the future, but it's okay, because I feel at those times, even when I wasn't as responsive, it was really more about me preserving my own energy and just protecting myself a little bit. It's like I can't show up and be instantly available for every single person who demands it. I am called an avoidant sometimes because of that, actually, which is hilarious because I'm actually a very sensitive person. I'm not really an avoidant, except that I do protect my energy because I've just learned I'm a turtle without a shell. And so I really do need to be cautious about how often I give my loving energy and how often I reply, just so that I pace myself and I'm not exhausting myself or I'm not overly crushing on someone When we overly crush on someone, it's actually an overgiving situation where we've just really pushed ourselves way too hard for somebody. And we do it often because we didn't get enough love as a kid and we were pushing really hard for our parents' love, and then that transfers into adulthood when we're in our romantic relationships and we're pushing really hard for that person to love us, and then it actually drives them away. But we're all guilty of doing that. And you do need to respond, you do need to communicate in a relationship. So it can be a difficult balance to get right where you're communicating enough, not too much, not too little. You're not avoiding, but you're also not overly crushing and overly communicative either, or trying to get somebody involved in something when they're not ready. And my point is, whatever you decide to do with your behavior, imagine like your 10-year-old niece is watching. Imagine like your elderly parents are watching, whoever it is that you care about, and behave with integrity. We may not get it 100% perfect. We may not get it 100% right. There could be situations where we could improve. So I'm not saying those situations will never come up. There's always room for growth. Having said that, you just want to make sure you never really treat anybody in a very mean fashion or very disrespectfully, because people will remember that. Even if you think you're coming up with a pithy comeback and they do seem like they're being an idiot, like maybe it's better to just not even go there and just let them go. Just be very polite and say, if they're not right for you, just say, I don't think you're right for me. I'm not feeling comfortable with this. And go with your vibes too. That is something really huge in relationships. There are times when on the surface, men have been behaving really, really nice, and I get a cold feeling in my gut, like something is wrong. And if you ever feel that, trust your gut. Doesn't mean like punish them for behaving nice. Try to receive that guidance and try to receive that warning and figure out how you're going to process it, because it is something.